Warriors versus Grizzlies. Who's gonna win? The play-in tournament is set, and that means we need to discuss the matchups. First, we have the Warriors versus the Grizzlies. I have the Warriors winning this matchup, and let's talk about why. I know if you're a Grizzlies fan, you don't want to hear that, but stick around and listen to my reasonings, and maybe I'll convince you otherwise. One of the reasons why I don't see the Grizzlies winning this game is Jaren Jackson Jr., but we'll get back to him in a minute. Just stick around for that. First, let's talk about it from the Warriors standpoint. We know with Jimmy Butler in the lineup, and ever since he's been there, they have been unbelievable. This graphic was posted like 5 days ago. Shout out to whoever posted this. But before Jimmy got there, they had the number 10 defense, which is still pretty good, a top 10 defense. But with Jimmy there, they are the number 1 defense. And I did say this in a previous video. I was saying I think they're the number 2 defense, and maybe since then they have, surpassed that and became number 1. So with Jimmy, they have the number 1 defense in the entire league, and that's over OKC. So if you have the number 1 defense in the entire league, there's no reason for me to believe, because they've done it since Jimmy's been there, and they beat the Grizzlies already, that they can't stop them. So that's one of the reasons that I think is, one of the most obvious. They have a great defensive team. They have lots of players who know where they need to go. They rotate. Moses Moody's a good defender. Brandon Pajemski, he will take charges on every play. So everybody is going to hustle. Guy Santos, have you seen him? He will get as many offensive rebounds as he possibly can. And that's not necessarily defense, but in a way it is, because getting second chance points and boxing people out and fighting for rebounds is part of defense. Speaking of Brandon Pajemski, can we talk about what Brandon Pajemski has done basically since Jimmy has got there, especially over the last couple of weeks or few weeks or so? If you have not seen Brandon Pajemski's stats, you need to go look at them. Sure, the likelihood of him, averaging 22 or whatever it was and making like 6 of 8 from 3 every game, probably not going to happen. But the fact of the matter is Jimmy Butler has really helped to unlock Brandon Pajemski. And even though I just said he might not, score 22 points a game, maybe he will, because again, since Jimmy has got there, it's like every game he's getting better and increasing his efficiency and just being able to score more. Like I said, it affected Steph the most when I was talking about Jimmy getting there. Steph was putting up crazy numbers once Jimmy arrived, because it's not just that Steph is getting more shots. He's not necessarily taking more shots. He's just getting better looks. He doesn't have as much pressure to be on the floor because Jimmy can hold it down. If you remember early on in the season, Brandon Pajemski was struggling. After an incredible rookie season, he was really struggling hard. And once Jimmy got there, it really unlocked him. And the reason I think it did is because Jimmy is a ball handler. He is a point forward, so to speak. And one of the things that Brandon was doing a lot of before Jimmy got there was kind of being a, point guard for them. And it's not that he can't do that, but he had a lot of decision making for a second-year player that just kind of took him out of his comfort zone, in my opinion, based on how I was watching him. It was like too many decisions at one time, and now he could play his game perfectly. So if Brandon Pajemski is going to score 22, there's no way the Grizzlies are going to win, right? Because you expect Steph Curry to get his 30, and Jimmy will get his 20 from the line. By the way, Jimmy doesn't even have to take or make 10 shots a game. He'll just get 15 just from the free throw line. So Brandon Pajemski and Moses Moody are definitely X factors, and because of how well they are playing, I do expect the Warriors to win, and they are part of the reason why. I know Jonathan Kuminga did not play in the last game. I expect him to get minutes in this game because the Grizzlies are definitely a good matchup for him because he is so athletic. And so I could see Jonathan Kuminga also having a really big game, assuming he's in the rotation, because his style of play just is able to play against the Grizzlies defense, if that makes sense. And obviously the play of Steph Curry is going to be a big reason why they win too, right? But I'm trying to point out reasons that may not be so obvious. And now let's get back to Jaren Jackson Jr. And by the way, obviously Draymond Green's defense as well. But let's talk about Jaren Jackson Jr. and why I think he might actually contribute to Memphis losing. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a super talented player in the league. When the All-Star game was coming around, I said I will take him over Ja Morant, getting the All-Star nod because this season he's had is incredible. As a talent, he contributes to winning for them. Offensively, defensively, we know he is a terrific defender. So it's actually not about his style of play necessarily, although sometimes his decision-making on taking certain threes also contributes to me, not thinking they're going to win this type of game because you have to make the right decisions. And sometimes I'm like, Jaren, in my head, I'm like, Jaren, you got to go to the basket. You cannot be taking these threes. Like, it doesn't make sense. But the main reason is this. This is the leaders in fouls per game. The top three should not surprise you because it's basically the same every year. It's always Jaren Jackson Jr., it's always Cat, and it's always Sabonis. Maybe they're flip-flopped around year to year, but these three are always in foul trouble and always top in the league in fouls. And so you can see Jaren Jackson Jr. takes the cake this year and leads the league in fouls at 3.47 per game. When they played the Warriors a couple weeks ago or a week ago, whatever it was, I'm pretty sure he fouled out. And if he didn't, he was in foul trouble basically the whole game or at some point. Like I remember him being in foul trouble for sure. And that's not the first time that's happened. He has been in foul trouble or fouls out of games, important games, more than he should be. And listen, I'm not an NBA player. It's not easy to, not stick your hand in the cookie jar and not, foul players. I get it, especially when you're a top tier defender. You are pressuring players harder than some other people. To me, it's not the fouls where he's just playing really hard defense and, he ends up with a foul. Like, those things happen. Jaren Jackson Jr. and Cat have this same quality, and I'm not trying to rag on them because they both are very good players. But this is, again, one of the reasons why I'm not sure that the Grizzlies would win this matchup. Because even if Jaren Jackson Jr. is having an incredible game, unfortunately, I have a feeling that he's going to commit at least 2 fouls where you're like, why? What was the reason? Why are you fouling Kevon Looney at half court? He's not taking that shot. Shout out to Kevon Looney. He has always been great for the Warriors. But I'm just saying, like, that's the type of fouls that he does sometimes. And as a fan, like, I'm not picking any specific person. I'm talking about Cat too. Like, they both do this same thing where it makes no sense, some of the fouls. Because of this, Jaren Jackson Jr. could be crushing the Warriors on the glass. He could be so efficient with his shot, he can't miss. But by the end of the second quarter, or not even, by the beginning of the second quarter, he already has 3 fouls and he's sitting on the bench. And so he can't help the team win because he's not in the game. Like I said, Jaren Jackson Jr., incredible player, has had an incredible season. I am not trying to rag on him. I'm not trying to rag on Cat because, again, I'm not in the NBA. It's harder than it looks. Like, I know this is why I quantify or qualify what I'm saying. I'm not coming at somebody, but it is pure fact that Jaren Jackson Jr. leads the league in fouls. I'm not making this up. If you have watched him, you know he makes these kind of fouls that don't make sense. And if he is not on the floor and they don't have Brandon Clark, who, by the way, such an important player, like, it's so unfortunate that he has been hurt the last couple of years. I do think, sorry, I just feel like leaning on the wall. My arm is getting tired, but I do think it's going to be a fun game. But I do think the Warriors are going to ultimately win this game. And it could go down to the wire like it has before. But I could also see it being a blowout. I'm not exactly sure which direction it's going to go in. I just have a good feeling that the Warriors are going to win this matchup. And then the Grizzlies have to fight for the 8th seed. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and see you next time. Bye!